If you have not heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. It's called Anchor. You can download it today at the Play Store. Peace. Yo, what's up? This is your boy Derek Branch here at Strike7Sports.com. This episode is another episode of Strike 7 Sports Podcast. I'm joined with my co-hosts Brian Botta and Leo DeSeaberg. This is Strike 7 Sports Podcast. So we're gonna go right into it, and with our first topic of the night, and that's concerning the Memphis Tigers men's basketball program, and what went down this past Saturday morning in Nashville. I got up like around like 9:50, 10 o'clock ish, and I saw the notification to the phone was that the game was canceled. I'm like, I already know what this is. I already know what it's about, and I read it. It's about a breakout in the Tigers program. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read a little snippet of what went down on that day from 247 Sports. Go Tigers, go! And it was that two players tested positive for the virus, and according to Penny Hardaway, is that they would only have like 4 players available if these if they didn't they only have 4 players available due to the 2 guys missing, with the couple players that are missing. And just online, checking out through social media online, certain groups and all that, they were just stating that Memphis didn't want to play, scared to play. It was rigged, there's other stuff going down. And to me, to come up with that excuse of why they didn't want to play, I understand the rivalry is heated, but that was like a bad one right there. They were scared to play him, And there was these other things that came out about them, about him misspoken about the vaccination rates, and he had 90% success vaccination rate and all this other stuff. It was just a lot of mess, man. A lot of stuff just went down. But I just want to get y'all thoughts on it first, and I'll just bring it home.
I'll go first, man. This weekend was wild. Luckily, I'm glad I just woke up. I stayed up late the night before, and I woke up around like 10:45, and I was like, I'm getting ready to watch the game. And the thing I know, I found out that it's canceled because of COVID. And that is, I didn't make the trip. I'm from Nashville, and I thought about going. If I made the trip and I would have been so bad. Even there's a lot of stuff to do in Nashville, that would have really pissed me off. So as bad as I am, I can't imagine. I heard one couple that went traveled all the way from Oregon for that game. So that I felt sorry for people like that. But it's unfortunate. I think the criticism was fair. I think the one thing he shouldn't have been, if he wasn't sure about the exact, he shouldn't have said anything. That's just the only thing that I have a problem with. See if they decide to get vaccinated, but I'll be interested to see, because some conferences are changing their forfeit policy. The AFC isn't, and so if this comes back again, it could cost them a few games. So hopefully it doesn't come back to haunt them. But if I were them, I'd try to get everyone vaccinated. I know he can't force them, he can't force it because Memphis is a public school, but he can be like, get the vaccine, you don't play. So, there's ways to do it to get them to get the vaccine, and so they won't have to deal with the situation. But yeah, it was disappointed not be able to do that. And who knows next time they play, because again, Rick and I this long term, but hope they're at least able to see it. That's what I'm hoping. But man, yeah, I was disappointed.
When it comes to these type of situations, really the first thing that matters is the player safety. And it's good that they found out the two players that they had the COVID, and they were able to like make sure that they maintain them and separate them from the rest of the team. And so, first of all, player safety matters come first, and then people's safety, because people obviously, lives have been lost, numerous lives, thousands of lives have been lost over this. And so, first of all, it was good by the university by making sure that they found out who these players were and they got the game canceled. Because imagine they had played the game. And how many people would have been affected possibly? That's a lot of people. And then, second of all, really, from a basketball standpoint, y'all, nobody really talking about this, but this really could be a game that did get played. This could cost Memphis a few seeds. This could cost Memphis an NCAA tournament spot. Because imagine, let's just say Memphis is on the bubble, or let's just say let's say if they're in the tournament, it'll cost them a few seed lines. Because they can look, if they look at the committee, you beat Tennessee, the top 15 program. They had a chance to knock off. And it's crazy because I find it strange that Rick Barnes won't play Memphis. Because I think Memphis wants to reschedule, but Tennessee won't do it. I'm not saying Tennessee is scared to play Memphis, but I do think at one point you have to ask, because one program is making itself available to say, we can go reschedule this game. This is an important game with two best programs in Tennessee. And yet one program is saying, we're not doing this anymore. So I think it could affect Memphis from, hopefully not from a health standpoint, but it may affect them also from a basketball standpoint in terms of getting into the NCAA tournament or maybe a few seed lines.
Yeah, but this is my thing with it. Okay, so he took some criticism for the vaccination rates and miscalculation and all other stuff. So my thing is, how is the team going to respond to this after the pause? How is it going to bounce back? Because last year they had these stoppages throughout the season, and it affected them. And the way I saw it, it looked sloppy coming out of the breaks, and may have caused them a few games. Maybe if you didn't have these pauses, you could have been in more rhythm against teams like Houston. You could have beat them instead of struggling with them in both games that you played in. It's unfortunate what happened. It would have been better if they could have had the victories over Tennessee and Alabama going into the conference play, but now they don't. I still think they still have a shot at getting in the tournament. And I got the standings pulled up from the AAC, and right now it looks on the outside. I say this in the article as well. It look on the outside, looking in the standings, the conference looks very competitive, but we don't know how it's going to look once conference play start and everybody starts, playing each other, and the better team starts to separate themselves. I think with the veteran talent combined with the new guys that we have, guys like Jalen Duran, Bonnie Bates, Earl Timberlake, veterans like that, I think Memphis should be better than what they were last year, in the previous year. You got the experience now on your team and talent, so you should be better than what you are going into conference play, playing against some of these teams that have been together for 3 to 4 years. Because that's in my opinion, that's what the AAC is. There's not a lot of one and done players in the conference. There's just a lot of teams that have stuck together throughout the years. So I think they'll be fine after the break, hopefully. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, a lot of people on the radio touched on the issue that I have. I think they'll be all right. I think as long as they play like they played again, I know you can play all the every single game, but if you play with the attention to detail and give all the effort, they'll be all right. The problem is vaccination thing can happen, or the because of their COVID stat, but how many people aren't vaccinated, that it can happen again. And so that's the big issue. So I just hope it won't affect them. But other than I don't feel that will get. I think they'll play well enough to make it. It's just whether they'll have enough games to have a tournament resume. That's what I'm worried about.
Anything else, Lee?
I think that really, when it comes down to it, like I said earlier, like you all mentioned, player safety will matter first, and people's safety matters first. But I also, it'll come down to like, I don't think that they should be forced to get the vaccine, but I do think that there should be some like sort of incentive to get it because, like he was discovered that Penny was I wouldn't say he lied, but I just say he was he misread the statistics. I say that. I don't think he intentionally lied about the vaccination rate. I think he just got the statistics wrong. But in my opinion, I feel that as if Memphis, like you are, it has the ability to make the tournament. But the problem is, I don't even think it'll be. They're deep enough to where, God forbid, if they lose, let's just say a player or two for a couple of games because of COVID, they're deep enough to withstand losses. Keep in mind, they haven't even played John. I think John, he might be. I don't know if he's redshirted this year or if he's just out because of injury. But they have guys that haven't even played yet, really. So they can withstand the potential losses, but when it gets, like you said, DB, when it gets deep into the grit of conference schedule, there's from the teams who, not the one that does shine in the AFC, but the team like the Houstons, the Wichita States, the Tulsas, the Cincinnatis, even a team like a Tulane that's not really that good, but has some vets that stuck around for a few years. Those teams really shine. So hopefully that youth veteran mixture works out.
Anything, Brian?
Yeah, I agree with most of what he's saying. It's just, again, they played against, for the most part, how they played against Alabama, they'll be all right. But this COVID situation, like the unfortunate thing, like nobody really is really talking about. Memphis is a public school, and the president, because since we got there, we know he wanted to. If he had the power to, we would all have to show up to campus to come to school. But because it's a public school, it has to have permission from the governor and in our state and our legislature. That ain't gonna happen. So it's unfortunate. But like a school, for example, like Wake Forest, they're in North Carolina, but not just that, they're a private school, so they have power for kids to get the vaccines. And look, some people think bad things. These are just the stats. It comes down to, we love a lot of numbers. I don't know the exact numbers, but for the most part, if you get the vaccine, not only you can still get COVID, like some people that can still push, you'll get COVID, but less likely to suffer seriously from the illness, and ultimately it can save lives. You ultimately have to decide if it's worth it or not, but just what the stats are saying, what the people we trust and doctors are saying. So that's why I took it. I still got to get my, but that's why I took it. And I hope some players are willing to do that too. But Michigan, our entire team is going to get their booster. Michigan football, Kentucky got their boosters. Not just, it's not like it's people are just being picky. A lot of other schools and athletes are doing it. You can do it. I just hope it doesn't cost them. But we'll see.
Man, we'll see, man. We'll see everything plays out, man. A lot of people, dooming and glooming online, and it'll be okay, man. It'll be fine, man. All right, man. So we're gonna we'll stay with Memphis, but I want to get, Leo more involved in this one with the women's basketball program. He covers the team on the beat, and we're gonna talk about it since the other outlets on the outlets in the city don't talk about them, so we're gonna discuss it tonight. But Leo, let's give me some insight into the latest Tigers program right now. I know that I believe they're 8-2, won 3-game winning streak. New head coach came in, Katrina Merriweather. Just give us a little insight of what's going on with the team, man.
Man, well, really, what's going on right now? The team's 8-2. Really, this team is a very young team. They only have really 2 seniors. Well, 3 seniors. The girls named Elena Davis, Jamira Shoots. Elena being a forward and Jamira being a point guard. Really, this team is really DB. It's one of the youngest teams in Division I basketball. They're one of the youngest teams in the nation. But they run that's crazy. The defense is ranked in the top 20 in the nation. Actually, it's a team that's very young and very talented, and coach. And when they go 15 deep. And what makes this team different from other Tiger teams of the past is that they're talented enough to withstand injuries. Because last year, this team only had 5 healthy players. This year, they go 15 deep, and they have the ability to make the NCAA tournament. And I didn't want to say that coming into this year because of the past years. I've covered this team for 3 years, and last year they won 4 games. This year they're 8-2. They have the ability to make the tournament. The team, you all talk about the men's job. The men haven't made it since 2014. The women haven't made it since 1998. So also you have to keep in mind that there's been almost 3 coaches ago. Mary Lou Jones, last year's coach Melissa McFerrin was there almost 15 years. She never made the tournament. She only made the WNIT. So Coach Merriweather is on a good path last year. Keep in mind she made the tournament as the Wright State head coach last year, and they beat Arkansas in the first round at Wright State. It was a 4-13 upset, and they got to the second round. So with the teams headed in the right direction right now at 8-2, they're one of the best teams in the AAC. Their first conference game is actually January 2nd against South Florida, which also features 2 of their best players from last year who transferred from Memphis to South Florida. And South Florida is the team that took UConn the distance and also knocked off a top 5 ranked Stanford team. So it'll be a tough test for Memphis, but this year they're definitely a postseason team.
All right. You got anything to share, Brian?
Well, I think just since I don't know too much, I don't want to say too much, but I'll just want to say it's not what they're doing. I'm glad people show some love to them and not just put covers, but at a really good level. I hope they tournament, and I think a lot of people talk about the negativity of the men's basketball team. How about we talk about some positivity with the women's basketball team? Look, they've already doubled how many wins they've had last year. Really impressive, and I like the new coach came in, and she's really changed the culture, and I think they're right direction.
All right. Hey, so looking at the standings here, and I think Tulsa is 10-1 right now, with a 5-1. Well, 10-1 right now. Memphis is 9-2. Do you know anything about the Tulsa women's team? And think Memphis can overtake them in the conference?
Tulsa's a very tough team. They have 2. I think there's a Mayberry. This is called Mayberry twins. I think one named Maya. I don't know the other name, the other one. But last year they gave Memphis fits. Both of them had 20+ points. Those 2 run their team, but they really have a good guard combo. I watched a few Tulsa games on ESPN Plus on the women's basketball circuit. They're a really good balanced team. I think Memphis is they could struggle with a team like that because I feel like Tulsa and South Florida, those will be the 2 teams that Memphis struggles with. And keep in mind, DB, I don't want to add to what you were saying. Memphis is picked to finish last going into this year. They're picked to finish last. They're picked to finish 12th, I think, in the AAC. But I think they've turned a lot of heads and surprised a lot of people, and I think they'll be way above that.
Okay, so let me ask both of y'all this then. Do you ever think it will get to the point to where the fans in the city start talking about Memphis women's basketball? Or is it just too early for that?
I was kind of thinking of that. I'm not sure if they'll ever get to that point, but if the men's basketball program just becomes so bad and the like not UConn level, but where they're consistently making the tournament, then I think you can point. But until then, but you also got to forgive them. And they're doing pretty well too. So I think right now the men will take the bulk of the attention. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't give credit to what the women have done and support them.
And also to add on what you were saying, Brian, a lot of people don't know the players. Like these are as I've grown with this program and covered them from New Tri-State for the last 3 years, I've learned to grow with these players. Like these players, like Elena Davis, been there. This is her 5th year. Like these players have stories. Like we know Imani's 17. We know Jalen's 18. We know that. We know these things. We don't. A lot of these players, we don't know that they start 2 freshmen and a senior these players. The players aren't as recognizable on the women's circuit because they're not as popular. And so I feel like they can change because I y'all really should. Like, I would really advise them because it's the atmosphere is phenomenal. Like, it's not like sold out packed, but it's the atmosphere and energy and positivity at these games is like it's super different from past years, and I've seen it at its lowest, and it's getting at one of its highest points right now. So, really, I think it's about, can people accept that women's basketball is just as not? Maybe some people will never accept that women's basketball can be on the same level as men's, but that these women bust their butts and play hard too. And we live in a society where it's just we see men like you see like WNBA, NBA.
Yeah.
WNBA gets none of the coverage, none of the attention that even compares to the NBA. The same in college basketball, I feel like, unless it's among the top teams. But it makes me feel like Memphis deserves their credit too. And when they're standing at the end, we'll see. People will get there. They'll get people's respect.
All right. Yeah. Do you think? Let's add a little more into that discussion. Do you think it's because the reason why we don't see a lot of coverage with the women's basketball, women's college basketball, WNBA is because there's not like this polarizing player that the media wants to hear about? You think that could be a reason?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I agree with that. They're like, for example,
now, I'm just asking the question.
Brittany Griner. I'm not. They may be on the same team, but Skylar. There's some good players. People can't. When she was, she still played. So they talk about the biggest thing is kind of like someone made it, like Jason Whitlock. Ironically, he made an interesting point. I think he did make a good point. I want to hear your thoughts. He said that intimate either earlier than the men or a month later, because when it's March Madness, it's all about the men. Like, rarely do they talk about the women. But if they had month the women's tournament, then I think that could help their spotlight a little. But look, it's up. The media chooses to cover whatever they want to cover, so more they can do that. But it's all up to them. But yeah, I see some of what you're saying. There aren't like a lot of big time names that people know. Like, if you walk across the street, they'll know who LeBron James is, but they probably won't Brittany Griner. That's part of the problem.
Also to add on what he said, it's also like you said, DB, there is no star like. I get it. It's a stereotype that women's basketball is just about fundamentals and doing everything right and sound, which a lot of the time that stereotype is true, but it's still good basketball. And fans like you, Brian, and I, like real basketball guys, they watch the game will appreciate that, but the casual fans don't. And there tends to be more casual fans than real basketball fans. So that turns a lot of people off to the game of women's ball. But like you said, and also, like you said, there is no polarizing great player. Like, there is nobody that you can say that in the WNBA that even compares to like a LeBron or a Giannis.
Yeah.
Like you said, Brittany Griner and Diana Taurasi and Skylar Diggins-Smith and Candace Park and those people, those are great players, but they're not national figures. Like, they're not. And in the college game, you have Paige Buchers, if y'all know who that is. Paige Buchers, she's out right now, so they kind of put a hurt on it because she was the face of college basketball, and now she's out for the next 2 months. So yeah, that's kind of a big deal for them. Okay? But yeah, it's about there's not that polarizing star that's like you have in the men.
Yeah, because I think if you have that, if they could get that, I just think all this talk about them not getting paid. Things like that. I think that just changed the dynamic of the league, right? Just like that. You know what I'm saying? But you still gotta give them the credit, for what they do. All right. So, anyways, man, we're gonna move on to the NFL and focus on the one division one of the divisions in the league right now is very competitive. It was like this last year. And we're talking about the AFC North. So we got the Bengals in first place, Baltimore in second, 8-6. Bengals 8-6, Steelers 7-6-1. With they had the one tie which was against Detroit, and got Cleveland at 7-7. So what went down last Sunday was that the Ravens were so afraid of Aaron Rodgers doing something with 42 seconds left on the clock that it forced John Harbaugh to go for it, a 2-point conversion attempt when he could add. You have Justin Tucker, the best kicker, I think the best kicker in the league, kick your field goal to tie it to go into overtime. But not going to overtime, but rely on the defense to get it done. But they went for it, and Green Bay it didn't go through. Green Bay won the game. So because of that, Green Bay the Bengals took control of the AFC North at 8-6. Ravens second place. Steelers 7-6. Browns 7-7. They had opportunity against the Raiders, but we know how that went. So they blew that. So now they're like in last place. So I want to ask y'all, who's going to win this division when it's all said and done? Because all 4 teams in the division have still got tough games left on their schedule. So I want to ask y'all, who do you think wins the AFC North?
Right now, I'm trying to decide between the Ravens. I'm going to go with the Ravens because I trust them more. And by the way, John Harbaugh made the right decision because he have an analyst. But this is the thing, like, people got to understand, not just because, actually, the analytically right decision would have been to go for 2 when they were down 14. So it might be still the same thing, but not technically. I think an underrated thing about when people go at the end of the games, like they say, well, why not play for overtime? College football and NFL overtime are different. College football, no matter what, you're going to at least get the ball. In the NFL, if the team goes and scores a touchdown, so there's not a guarantee you'll get the ball. So if you have a chance to end there, and Aaron Rodgers still could have gone down and helped them get a field goal, but at least you would have forced him to have to work for it. That's just my thoughts on that. But yeah, I think I trust him more. They're doing pretty well with the backup quarterback, and then hopefully Lamar can come back and ball. And the Bengals not sold on them. They're not consistent enough for me to leave them.
Go ahead, Leo.
I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers to win AFC North. You know what?
Then get out of here with that nonsense.
You say you don't trust. I trust the Ravens. First of all, the Steelers aren't the Steelers the division champion, defending champion? Can we give them their respect? They pulled out a victory against a very good Titans team, which I'll admit. The Titans literally fumbled their own chances away. But that's not here. The point is, the Steelers. But the Steelers really. I really learned a lot from the Steelers in that game because it showed they can win. Like they can win a dirty, grinding out game with a team like that's physical. They really out physical the Titans. Like they on the line. They showed they can really compete. Like for a division title, they going back to back. I don't like you said. I don't trust the Bengals enough. I haven't seen them enough, and I don't think the Ravens are good enough with or without Lamar to overcome like their deficiencies on the back end and really from a lack of any type of run game besides Lamar. So I will go with the Steelers because I think Najee Harris really gives them that advantage. I know Joe Mixon's a great back for the Bengals, and I think the Bengals get in, but I think 3 teams in this division can get in the playoffs.
3?
They can. It's possible.
Yeah, it's a competitive division, man.
Yeah, it's 3, but they will obviously be getting 2 of the 3 wild card. 2 of the 3 wild card spots if 3 get in. But I do think that also the Browns do not count them out. They're not dead yet, but they needed to beat the Ravens. They really needed that game. And I know if I'm not mistaken, no, that was the Redskins. I was about to say Garrett Gilbert, but if I'm not mistaken, Nick Mullins had them in the game to win. From what I was seeing,
they were winning the game, and the defense could stop Derek Carr.
The defense, which they really invested a lot in their defense, whether it be draft picks or money, they really let them down at the end because their defense, if their defense had stepped up, the offense wasn't doing great, but Chubb carried them enough in that second half to be in that game. And so I was really disappointed by the Browns. But then again, the third string quarterback did the best she could with those circumstances. So by Darian DeFunk, there leaves the Pittsburgh Steelers there standing as the division champions for the second straight year.
No way, no how.
Man, I'm leaning. It's tough. They can lean to the Ravens, man. Ravens. I don't trust the Bengals in those type of games. They got a big game. They play each other this week, and after that game, the Bengals play the Chiefs, man. And after that, they play the Browns. And the Bengals, at one point, the Bengals got to start winning these type of games, and you can't give them the excuse of, oh, they're young, they've never been there before. They got to start winning these games. They could have won the game against San Francisco. They let that one slide. They lost against Green Bay earlier in the season. They let that one slide. You know what I'm saying? So they got to start winning these games, man. And they dropped one against the Jets. So a lot of
somebody else lost to the Jets too. So his team is in here too. They lost to the Jets too, but we won't get into no.
Yeah.
But
but I'm gonna lean Baltimore, man. But Baltimore got it tough. They got it tough as well, man. It just one of these teams gonna get left out, man. I don't think nobody's gonna take Indianapolis out of their spot. They play Arizona this week, I believe. So I'm leaning toward the Ravens, man. I think the Ravens gonna get it done. I don't know about the Steelers, man. I mean, they fight hard in these games, but I think they missed the opportunities, man. That win against, if they would have beat Detroit, man, that would have helped them out right now, man. If they would have beat Detroit, instead of a tie. But I'm gonna go with Baltimore, man. All right, so go ahead.
But did you all not see what Cincinnati did to Baltimore the first time they played in Baltimore?
Yeah, but it's a rematch, brother.
They won by almost 30 points. They won by 30 points.
You gonna bet them to do that again?
The Ravens are beat up though right now. Ravens are beat up though.
I know, but
they beat the Ravens at full strength.
Yeah.
They
You
did.
think they can do that twice? Blow them out twice is what you're saying.
I didn't say blow them out, but I think they sweep them.
Alright, we'll see.
We'll see. But I want to talk to Brian about this analytics stuff, man. That stuff is dangerous, man. In basketball, baseball, I understand analytics is has its place in those sports. But in the NFL, man, that stuff is dangerous, man. Sometimes you cannot do that. I know a lot of people say, well, it was the right thing to do, go for it. I'm like, nah, man. You got Justin Tucker back there. Kick the field goal and give it to your defense. Let your defense do what it has to do, man. They were stopping Aaron Rodgers. Am I wrong?
Yeah. That's fair, but if they lose that game in regulation or the Packers score a touchdown, would you still say the same thing, or do you say maybe they should have at least tried it?
I'll be still saying the same thing because you went in overtime and you didn't get it done. That's what I'll be saying. But you didn't even give your team a chance to fight, man, when you do stuff like that. That's what I think. So we'll see.
Just agree on that one.
That's cool, man. It's all good, man. It's cool. But all right, so we'll stay on the NFL. We'll segue into the Jacksonville Jaguars. It is head coaching position. It's opening. So on our last podcast on last Wednesday, at the conclusion of that podcast, late Wednesday night, I got the notification like around 11:30ish that they fired Urban Meyer. So that was a shocker right there. I didn't expect him to do it like that at night, but they fired him. And now this Jaguars job is open. It's an open position. This is the first to be open, I think. I think he's the first coach to be fired this year, right?
No, it was John Gruden. Well,
Yeah.
technically he is, but Todd Gruden, he was forcefully out.
Yeah. So the Jaguars job is open, and I got some audio I want to play for you from ESPN's the Get Up, and it's from they had a segment with Mike Tannenbaum, who's a former NFL GM with the New York Jets, and I didn't know that Tannenbaum represented Steph Curry back in the day. That's crazy right there, man. I'm like, what happened to it? It didn't translate it over to the NFL because he sucked as a general manager for the Jets. So I just want to play this bite with Tannenbaum said and give y'all thoughts on it about in regards to this job.
Universally regarded as a high-level prospect.
People are generally, what you're saying, excusing what has been an up and down and mostly down rookie year because of all of the nonsense involving Urban Meyer. Dominique, are you of the opening?
It's Jacksonville, and Jacksonville is a historically great opening because of Trevor Lawrence's contract. Over the next 3 years, they're going to save upwards of $40 million a year of what they would have to pay him as a veteran quarterback. The day I get that job, I'm getting Devontae Adams on the phone saying, congratulations, you're a Jacksonville Jaguar. I am not getting off the phone. DJ Chark's coming back. Travis Etienne's coming back. Guys, this reminds me of when Steve Kerr went to the Golden State Warriors, and he had the foundation there. They made a couple of tweaks, and the rest is history. This is a team that should be in the playoffs next year with a great young quarterback. If you could stop Derrick Henry and you're Jonathan Taylor, they should be competing next year.
Can I ask Alex, who's directing our show today, can we take camera one, please, in a straight shot on Jeff?
All right. So, based off of those remarks, I want to ask y'all, and I'll close it out. I'll bring it back to me. But do y'all think this job is really that good? Do y'all think because of Trevor Lawrence potential? Do y'all think is it the number one job right now opening? Go ahead.
I'll go. I think as of right now, it's a really good job. And I think I agree with some of what Tannenbaum's saying because what you got to understand long term, the Titans, they got to win that a few years and then they're going to have to start rebuilding because this team is built to win now. A few years from now, who knows? But probably not. They got to go all in and try to win a Super Bowl. The Titans are mad. They're probably going to trade Deshaun Watson and they're rebuilding. They may fire. And then the Colts, they're kind of like in the Titans situation. They're going all in on trying to win the Super Bowl. So 3 to 5 years from now, I don't think that's teams. Now, compared to the Golden State Warriors, that's when he went philosophy. Stop it. First of all, there's no Steve Kerr out there, in my opinion. Second of all, I think winning in the NBA and the NFL are two totally different things. But Trevor is good. I don't think he's that good yet. Still has a lot to prove. His season, to be honest with you, has been kind of a disappointment. I know the Urban Meyer was a disaster, but Trevor Lawrence could have played better than he's played. Joe Burrow, for example, they didn't win a lot of games, but you knew that the future was bright for him to help. We didn't really do that from Trevor Lawrence. So the matter, and I don't know if y'all heard about this. Apparently, Trevor Lawrence wants input on the next coach. I wonder what y'all's thoughts are on that. But I mean, nothing wrong. Like I feel like we need a coach that can be like, but him bringing up names and stuff, I don't think, or saying who we should hire. I don't think he has right or has that capacity to do that. But I think if the Jaguars get this hire right for the first time in a long time, I think they can get where they want to be. The one thing about this job, I feel like you're going to have a lot of security because they gave their 4 years up Marone and Gus. Irvine was just such a disaster. So I think they'll at least get 4 years. After that, who knows?
Go ahead, Lee.
I think the Jacksonville
job is a great job. I do it everything, like Tannenbaum says. They are the next Golden State Warriors. They're going to slam dunk the whole time. But in all seriousness, they have the potential to have, they have good building blocks, y'all. In all seriousness. Like he just said, DB, I would be surprised if Devontae just goes there. I would not be surprised.
Maybe go ahead.
He's the number one.
You want to get paid, then.
You have DJ Chark as a number 2, LaVisca Chenault as a 3. The guy that they're basically getting a rookie. I think Etienne is going to be a really good combination with James Robinson. I think they really need to hit the O-line hard. Cam Robinson's not any good. And they need to just accept that he's a second-round flop from Bama and let him bounce and get another left tackle. But defensively, Miles Jack has been that guy. I hope for their sake, and if y'all really follow him like that, Miles Jack has been the foundation for their team for the last half decade on defense. And so that's a real guy, a real powerful guy. I think they can really surround him with playmakers in their secondary. I think they really need to revamp that secondary. So Shaquille Griffin was a really good pickup in free agency, but he hasn't played as well as he did while he was in Seattle. So overall, Jacksonville has the pieces to be really good and to get like a big name. But the question is, how much power would this new name have, and how much patience will we be given? Brian did point out they gave Doug Marrone 4 years. They gave Jack Del Rio a long time.
Yeah, he was there for a minute.
Yeah, Coughlin was there for a minute. They didn't give what's his name? He coached the Titans for a little minute.
Mike Mularkey? Mike Mularkey?
Yeah, Mularkey. Yeah. He coached out to a playoff win. But anyways, they didn't give him really much time. But the question, like I said, DB, how patient is Shad Khan going to be, and how much power will that new guy have? Because if he's able to help pick his own players and everything, because they said Balky's going to be staying. Balky's staying through this. So which is interesting, because you rarely see that when they fire the coach, normally the GM, we don't know if he's going to be there. But they say Balky's staying. So he's going to be able to help pick the coach. So there just needs to be a culture change there. I think Trevor Lawrence has the ceiling to be very great. He can have a Josh Allen-ish jump his second year. But also, we can't judge this team off wins and losses yet, because I think that Brian said they're 2 to 3 years away from being judged on who they are, because everything starts and ends with Trevor. If Trevor plays good, they're going to be good. If Trevor plays bad, they're going to be bad. This is plain and simple as it is.
Yeah, but that's true. I agree with it. What is the thing, man? What Tannenbaum said about this job, if Devontae Adams comes to this team, it's to get paid, man. It's just, to me, you dealing with you're not trying to get a Super Bowl, man. You came here to give. I mean, I'm not against guys getting paid, but if you come to this team, I know what it was about. It was about getting you money, life-changing money, generational wealth, and that's fine and all. But I mean, the jury's still out on Trevor Lawrence, man. He's saying that this is like a historic opening, a historic job opening. I kind of disagree with that, And if there's any team that's the Golden State Warriors, it's the Kansas City Chiefs, in my opinion. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. They're the Golden State Warriors of the NFL. But anyways, Trevor Lawrence to me didn't. I know Urban Meyer was there and all, but he didn't do anything to where that will have me going, wow, I would like to coach that guy if I had the opportunity. To me, he's not even near Andrew Luck's level in his first year, because Andrew Luck was touted as the next great generational talent, and he played like it. Lawrence didn't do that, and Luck had a terrible supporting cast at one point, But I mean, I think as other jobs open up, I think that there are better jobs than the Jacksonville job. Because to me, with the Jacksonville job, you're dealing with a bunch of what ifs. A bunch of what ifs. What if Lawrence is good? What if what the back name is? Etienne. What if Etienne is healthy? How's he gonna look? what's on the outside opposite of Chalk, DJ Chalk. And I think a better job opening than Jacksonville would be the Raiders. If Minnesota don't make the playoffs this year, I think that's a better job than Jacksonville. The Chicago job is better than the Jacksonville job. The Jacksonville, they just need a lot of work, man. I don't think they're gonna get turned around like right away, like they did what Sean McVay did for the Rams in his first year. I don't think they're gonna get like that. But the good thing is, they're not paying Trevor Lawrence right now. A lot of other guys are not getting paid, so you get out. I wouldn't be in such a rush to spend money with this team. They got a lot of cap space. I wouldn't be spending a lot of money with this team right now, man. I will continue. If I'm the head coach, I will continue to build through the draft, and I will not spend that money on Devontae Adams when you can go into the draft. This draft is going to be another loaded receiver class coming out, just like the previous 2 years. So why you're gonna have a high draft pick? So why am I going to overpay for Devontae Adams when I could get one, a clone of Devontae Adams in this draft, and don't pay him nothing? So the job, I mean, it's a good job, but I don't think it's a historical job. So your thoughts, please. If y'all got any?
The one thing I'll say, I think what you're saying, Devontae Adams thing. Two things. Number one, Aaron Rodgers is probably out of Green Bay.
You think so? I think they moved Jordan Love, man. He comes back.
Now that could be not. I didn't think about that, but I think he's gone.
All right.
I think they could win the Super Bowl this year. It's a big if, but if they win it, then got that off of his resume. Go get your money. And if he decides to come, like let's say he wants to come to Jacksonville, at a decent amount where it's fair for both sides, in my opinion, for Jacksonville, you have to sign him because he's just that good a receiver. And even though you can get a receiver in the draft, that's going to take some time. Rarely.
No, really.
Yeah, rarely.
Really?
I know that you probably, like for example, Justin Jefferson was a really good rookie, but he played it. If you think about it, he played in the NFL offenses a lot, so that really helped him see guys come in and as rookie dominate.
Odell Beckham.
All right, okay, two guys.
Moss.
CeeDee Lamb.
All right.
Jerry Rice. Come on, man. Brian.
That's just me. Because even though they have time, you want to win as soon as possible.
No, you don't.
I think that's fair expectations next year.
Bro. That's this team got a lot of work, man.
I don't think
they got a lot of work.
Yeah, they're not as bad as you think, but they're not as good as you like. They're not as bad as you say they are, DB, but they're not as good as Brian is saying they could. Like they could be traded to be. So like they're somewhat in the middle. And I don't mean to interject nobody else, but I would just think, in my opinion, I feel that this team. Okay, if this team went 7-10 next year, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
After we see what they add in the draft, and also what's important is the teams around them. They're going to get 6. They can beat the Texans 2 times every year. With the Texans with no Deshaun, that's 2 wins for them. Even though it was 2 losses within this year, I think we're better. I feel like they lost a lot of games because of lack of coaching. And I know getting blown out by a lot, player motivation. Because Shad Khan was talking about the reason why he fired Urban Meyer. He asked Urban, "What can we do to fix this?" Urban said, basically was, I don't know. He was lost, and that's what the Jacksonville spokesman said. That was one of the reasons why he was going to go from this position. So I think we're in a new voice, a new energy. A guy's not a dictatorship. They're not going to run a dictatorship, more of a democracy. A guy that listens. Because I don't think Urban listened enough. I don't think Urban heeded his players enough. He ran like a college system, and Rex Ryan said it best. I think y'all see don't get up. Rex Ryan said he told Urban Meyer, "You're not going to work." To his face, and it didn't work. So when they get a new guy in there that hopefully we get into some candidates, guys. Like I know y'all saw the Doug Petersons of the world or some guys like that, but if they get a good offensive mind in there and a good DC, this team could be back to at least some sort of relevancy by a season or two.
Yeah, that's a good. I'm glad you brought up the candidates. I forgot. The top 3 candidates, in my opinion, should be Jim Caldwell, Doug Peterson,
And who?
Byron Leftwich.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I think they'll do a good job. That's just my opinion. Leah, you obviously agree. Who do you think they can have?
Jim Caldwell is not getting the coaching job.
I don't know about that. He got at least interviews, and he's a. You'll have he's a good program builder. He's a solid coach. Think about what he did. What has Detroit done since he's left?
Hey, so, all right, so let me ask you this then. I'm bringing a little NBA into it. So when the Pelicans hired Stan Van Gundy last year, the plan was that he was a placeholder coach to hold it down for somebody else to get it. So if we hire Caldwell, they hire him. Is he good? Is he holding that job, warming that job up for somebody else, or is this like a 7 to 10 year job for him?
I just thought, see if he's willing to do it, hire Jim Caldwell, and then hire Byron Leftwich, make him be the heir apparent. I think that could work.
Nah, bro.
Let me explain why. Jim Caldwell, I'm telling you, he's a good coach. I don't know why he's not a job. It's sad. He's a really solid coach. And Byron Leftwich, good as he is as an OC, what has he done outside of being with Tom Brady? He's been with the Cardinals, but I think he got fired. And I'm not saying it's all his fault because we've seen the Cardinals ended up firing their coach that year too. But what Byron Leftwich, he needs more. I don't think he's ready to be a head coach yet. And also, he's worked with veteran quarterbacks. He did have one year with James Winston, and that's not all his fault because we know James was a transfer machine. But I think learning from a guy like Brewster and then learning again from a guy like Jim Caldwell, I don't think he'll be cut forever. And then you can give the keys to Byron Leftwich, and I think that could work. But what do you think they should do, DB?
Man, I think a guy that doesn't get proper respect and love from the outside is Pep Hamilton. You ever heard of Pep Hamilton?
The special teams.
Yeah,
Not an offense coordinator. He worked with Justin Herbert in the Chargers, and he worked with Andrew Luck.
That's fair.
His brother, Pep Hamilton. He's with I think he's with Detroit right now, if I'm not mistaken.
With the Houston Texans.
Yeah, he's with the Houston Texans. Oh, he took
Yeah,
that
they're
job.
back.
Go ahead.
You want to go?
Guys, I got a crazy name. Y'all, do not. But I know what you're gonna say. What if the Jaguars got to get Jaguars business?
Say who? No, get out of here.
Nah, bro.
Think about it.
He's not a college coach. He's not an NFL coach, bro.
Think about it. Dabo. Think about it. What will make logically? I think they reach out. Or do y'all think the college route, they're not going college no more?
I wouldn't go to college route, man. Unless it's Nick Saban.
I disagree. Let me tell you, there's some good college candidates if you want to get David Shaw, for example. Who else? Matt Campbell.
Nah, bro. Man, what's the hype with Matt Campbell, man?
No, I think they're good. They're good. If you want to get a CEO type of coach, and I think that's what you kind of have to be in the NFL to be successful, I think it can work. But you just got to – I think it's risky to get to college. They need a proven commodity. That's why another – Doug Peterson he'd probably be my number one choice, to be honest with you. He's a proven coach. He's been successful. He's worked with a big quarterback, Carson Wentz, Nick Foles, kind of like Trevor Lawrence in a way. Trevor Lawrence is obviously more talented and has a higher ceiling, but Doug Peterson understands what it takes to win in this modern NFL now. Not saying Jim Caldwell. The only reason why I go over with with Doug Peterson over Jim Caldwell simply because of age. I think they're almost equal. I'll just give a little bit of an edge to Doug Peterson because he's done it in recent memory, and I think the way they use the analytics in Philadelphia, it really helps him. He's just a really good coach. Like, that's what people don't understand. Doug Peterson's a really good coach. He should have never been fired. they should have just traded Carson Wentz, and he should still be the head coach of the Eagles. But
What?
He wanted to keep Carson Wentz.
Are you serious?
yeah, you heard. I didn't study.
Somebody in the comments, somebody in the comments and talk about basketball.
We'll get to that, man. That's the last topic, man. That's the last topic. We'll get to it, man.
Yeah, basically, all I'm trying to say, go hire Doug Peterson, or do the Jim Caldwell, Byron Leftwich plan. But if we'll see who they end up hiring. If they end up hiring a solid coach or with someone with high upside, then who knows?
Man, man, look, I want to hire a college coach, man. Like David Shaw, maybe. I want to hire Dabo Swinney, bro. They yelling that stuff at. He'd be like another Pete Carroll, man. That stuff only worked for so long, man. Till the players start, blowing that stuff off, man. But
Pete got him a title out of it. He got him a title, so
yeah, he got because of Russell Wilson.
He wasn't the only player on that team.
Yeah, I know. It was a defense. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He built that though. Pete Carroll did build the defense, and signed Marshawn Lynch. I'll give him that. But I hire Ryan Dale for what his name is, which I just said, Dabo Swinney. I sure would.
Ryan Dale hasn't even won a national championship yet.
That doesn't mean anything.
That don't mean nothing.
Are you freaking kidding me? So championships mean nothing.
That's not saying.
So in that case, if championships mean nothing, you're devaluing championships.
No, I'm not devaluing championships, man. I mean, like, brother, that is the way Dabo coaches will not work. To me, it's not sustainable in the NFL, unless he changes.
Sorry. Okay, here we go. If that's the case, by your logic, that means Urban Meyer should have been a better coach than Jim Harbaugh, but that wasn't the case. Because being an NFL coach it's a totally different game, totally different job, and so I don't think you can champion. You got to think about these. You win championships mostly. Not saying you ain't a good coach. You better have some really damn good players to win a championship. There's been some coaches that have been all right coaches but have great players. That's why they won. So I think we got to be careful. Just because you won a championship, you're a great coach. That's not true. So
I mean, Ed Orgeron won a championship.
That's
some people will try to fool you and say he's a good coach.
Bruh, he's not. Ed Orgeron was good. Is a good coach as long as he has good assistants around him. If he does not have that, Ed Orgeron is not a good coach.
Yeah.
To me.
You know what I was thinking? I hope this don't happen, but I don't think it'll be the craziest thing. What if Joe Brady gets this job?
Man, stop talking, man. Look. To me, I think Joe Brady just got exposed, bro. He just got exposed, man. I mean, look. Either one of us will look good if I had Joe Burrow as my quarterback. I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire as my running back. I have Darius Moss as a tight end. I have Justin Jefferson on one side. I got Jamar Chase on the other, and I got Terrace Marshall as a third option. That's a third option. We would look good too as a OC. Come on, man. Like, you had NFL talent all around you, man, and that's what made you look good, bro. You got to the next level, and you couldn't repeat that because you playing against better talent and opponents. That would happen, man. And I told you why. I told you why Carolina struggled with that offense.
No, but the only thing I'll say is it Joe Brady or is it Matt Rule or is it the quarterback? So I don't think you can just. I'm not saying he's
it's all three.
The best coach they can hire, but I'm not sure. Like, for example, if with that logic, the Cardinals shouldn't have hired Cliff Kingsbury, but look what he was able to do with better resources.
Man, I don't even like the why. I don't even like how Kingsbury was hired, man.
I agree. I don't agree with it. It could have been EB, but he didn't interview for that job. But that's another. What about EB? Do you think he'd be good for the Jags?
Here's what I've been hearing, man. I've heard that theories that EB could take the Kansas City job once Andy Reid retires. That's what I.
But when is that gonna be?
That might be next year. It might be this year if they get a Super Bowl.
He just signed a contract extension. Unless something drastically changes, he's gonna be there for a few years. So that'll be a while. And I feel like if they were gonna do it, they would have announced something like that. But we'll see.
Go ahead, Leo.
I think personally that when you talk about these Jag jobs, y'all, and we're still talking about these jobs, we're still talking about everybody. I think really a guy that I really hope gets a chance to be at the job, y'all. DB, and I know he's a defensive guy, and these quarterback gurus are the guys. Guys, would y'all give Raheem Morris a chance? This guy's done a hell of a job, and I mean a hell of a job with that Rams defense. And I know he's floundered. He had a spurt of success with Tampa Bay, but I think Jacksonville's defense is ranked in the bottom, like I think third or fourth in the league. And I think really getting a guy like a Raheem Morris, hire a great offensive coordinator to go with him because he's mainly a defensive guy. But do y'all think that can work?
It can work.
Wait, you know what I was thinking? It would be perfect. He just was with Sean McVay, so that would be the perfect thing to do. He just.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's right. He got the Sean McVay connection, and they'll hire him. Yeah. You know Sean McVay, shoot, they'll hire you in a minute.
Yeah.
But anyways, anything else?
Yeah, I was just gonna go. I think he'd be a solid hire. He would have OC. With defensive guys, your offensive coordinator's hire is so critical. But I think he's learned from him, and Sean McVay is a really good coach. And if he's learned a lot from him and he's in Jacksonville, I think it could work. And they also interviewed him last year, so I think his name would. All right. Moving right along. Last topic of the night is the NBA, man. And I gotta talk to y'all about these Lakers, man. They took another L again. And that L dropping the L. That's the third loss on the road, 3-game losing streak. And it was against the Phoenix Suns, who is the number 1 seed in the West right now, followed by Golden State. And yesterday, I got some audio I want to share with y'all, which I listened to about talking to LeBron James, and we was talking about how a reporter asked him, does he know the? So I'm paraphrasing here, but does he understand the truly know the potential of this team right now? I'm gonna play the audio real quick of this question.
Hey LeBron, kind of along those lines, to this point in the season, have you seen enough from this group when it's been as together as it has been to be like, we can get to this level, or is it still more an on-paper thing where you think that if things go right, we can get to this level?
I mean, I feel like that's a question you ask me after every game. I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. We have not. You don't know. We have no idea.
Damn, what the hell?
When you have, Trev, who's his second game back. No K-Nunn. I missed, a bunch of games. Now AD's out. And a bunch of guys in protocol. Our head coach is out. So how can we really fully assess what we have? We haven't been whole. I can't remember the last time, we played the same starting lineup, had the same rotation coming off the bench. It's been a long time. So it's hard to assess that.
All right, man. So I'm reading LeBron's body language, man. He just looks, look worn out, man. He just looks like, man, look where we at, man. And, we got a championship the year prior. We get bounced off by Phoenix in the first round. And look where we at now, and I keep looking at these standings right now. And right now, they're a 7th seed, man. Which is you're playing, right? You're a playing team, right? And even if you make it out the play-in, man, you're going to Golden State. You play Golden State if you make it out the play-in. If they stay where they at, you're gonna play Golden State. And then to me, man, they're 16-16. That ain't good, man. It's not. They got to get out of the 6th seed, the 7th seed. I mean, I don't know if it's possible, but it would be better. It would be better if they get to the 5th seed. They can overstep to go to the Denver Nuggets and the Clippers and get to that 5th seed right now and play Memphis in that first round, because Right now, man, you can get swept. They might get swept, man, if they don't get things right. So get your thoughts on that, on what LeBron said yesterday. Do y'all think that was a good question by the reporter?
I go with it. I agree with the question. While they've had a lot of injuries, and I think you can look at it from. I'm gonna take it from both perspectives. I think the reporter asked a genuinely good question because I feel that a lot of people are asking, do people think the Lakers have enough? Do they need to get? I mean, they have enough. They don't have enough cap space to add anybody. That's the reason to add anyone else. Is do they have enough what they have right now? But I also see what LeBron's saying too, because they haven't had a full lineup. I've been telling people this. They've been saying, oh, well, they haven't had Kendrick Nunn, they haven't had Trevor, these small role guys. Those are important role guys. They said when they were signed, they were signed to fill a role. And when you don't have those players, we don't know what a full team looks like. Heck, they haven't had a healthy AD. AD won't be back for a couple more weeks. Shoot, we have not seen this full roster that was signed. We all lauded that team for he signed a veteran deal. We signed a veteran deal. We haven't seen all those veteran deal guys together. Dude, can we give it to the All-Star break?
That's what I was saying.
Like?
That's what I was saying in the beginning.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, and that's why that's a point that stuck out to me, because they're not. We expect them to just be killing everybody, blowing everybody out. First of all, this is an old team, an old squad. I'm surprised that they're ranked, that they're seated as low as they are, but I'm not surprised about the struggle. But I expected the talent to overcome it and for them to be at least top 5. So I am disappointed in that. But at the same time, what more can you expect from a team that's really, just like you said, old and deep, but not nearly to the point of what a contender should be. But when they get in a reason back, even though he's 36, 37, that's still a guy that can defend. None that are really good.
Can't hear or see him.
I can't hear him, man. He's talking, but I can't hear him, man. I can't hear you, man.
Alright, let me talk. We can't hear.
You hear? What you were saying, man? Yeah, I hear you now. I hear you.
What was the last? Did y'all hear me say that I think the Lakers will still win the finals?
I hear that part.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I picked the Lakers before the season, and I'm going with them now. I know you picked the Nets. I'm not sure who you picked about it, but I remember DB picked the Nets. So I'm going with the Lakers are still winning. They have the talent. It's not like I'm just picking a horrible team. This team talent wise is top 3 in the league. It's a question of can you
hold on, wait again? You say talent wise top 3 in the league?
Yeah.
I don't know, bro.
They're better than the Warriors. I'm sorry.
Nah, dude. Full speed, nah, dude. Nah. I'm sorry, man.
So,
they're not better than Phoenix. I don't think they're better than Phoenix.
What?
They're not better than Phoenix. They're not better than Phoenix.
I think it's close. Let me say my little bit.
Go ahead, man.
This is what I look at. The Lakers, they're going to have to make some trades. They're going to have to get
add who?
Chemistry.
Add who?
They need maybe a Jeremy Grant. They need wings.
Somebody cheap, right?
Wing defenders, yeah. Jeremy Grant from Detroit. I really don't want to give up THT, but you would have to do that deal. So I'm willing to do that. But he's going to have a lot of suitors, so it'll be interesting to see who ends up with him. But then they just got to hit the buyout market, get some good pieces. I think they can be all right. But right now they're 6th in the NBA. They're actually better than they were last year if the season ended today. I know that's not saying a lot. But AD's out. They're just trying to battle through. It's a long regular season. We're not going to judge this team until the postseason. Just get healthy. I'll have to make roster moves, put all the pieces together, and I think that to at least make it to the second round, play the Suns, maybe beat them, and then ultimately meet the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. And if we get to the Western Conference Finals, it'll be interesting. But yeah, right now I can see them losing in the first round if they're. But if they make moves, they do everything I just previously said, I think that they'll be all right.
All right, so last but not least, we're gonna Lando B post a question on a comment section. Go ahead and read it. if LeBron passes Kareem for most points all time, would that make him the greatest basketball player ever? Yes or no? What y'all think, man? Go ahead, man.
I would say no. I think he needs to win at least one more ring to make it fair. But first, I would say most important to say no. I think he has to win another time. You know, do that. You can't just do that. But that would be nice. Be the all-time leading scorer.
I agree with you. I think really for him being past the 20 would be historical. Like, because he would have done it. I think he would do it before. Because Kareem took, if I'm not mistaken, 20 years to do that. I think he would do it before 20. If I'm not mistaken, he's on that paper, right? If I'm not mistaken. So I think really it'll be if he passed. I think he's already. Well, people say Jordan's the best player. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's already better than Jordan. Personally, my top three are Kareem, LeBron, and then Jordan. So I would put Jordan at 3. And yes, I would think if LeBron passes Kareem on points, I would put Kareem at number 2, even though I've had Kareem at number 1 for so long.
Okay. I mean, it's to me. I mean, if he passed him, I still wouldn't say he's the greatest. He was the greatest players ever. He is the greatest player ever. I still think it's Michael Jordan. That's just me. You know, based on what I've observed, what I've seen, what I've watched, what I watched with LeBron, what I watched with Jordan. Certain tendencies that separates Jordan from LeBron. Not knocking LeBron or anything like that. Not hating on him or nothing like that. I just think Jordan's the better player. But LeBron is up there. He's my second greatest player of all time. To me, is LeBron. After Kobe. Before Kobe.
Could someone see my problem with your argument is that everybody who says that Jordan is better, none of y'all think that anybody else could be better. See, with the LeBron fans are like I think, like I said, Jordan's third on my list. He's my third, in my opinion. That's my opinion. The third best player of all time.
Cool.
He's the third best player of all time. Could anybody ever pass Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Warriors could have did it. I told you I felt with that.
Yeah, who?
The Warriors? I think Kevin Durant could have done it if he stayed in Golden State.
You think he would have been better than Michael Jordan?
He would have passed Jordan. He would have passed Jordan.
No.
I don't know.
He freaking joined a stacked team.
So?
No.
LeBron created this, man. LeBron started it, though.
That's another thing we should have said. You saw what Ivan Shumpert said, who has a ring because of LeBron James, by the way. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with what LeBron did. You can make case Boston started it, but they did it via trade. But
looking at it now, man, like that team, like what they did, man, compared to what Golden State did, is just like Golden State blew it out of the water, man. What Boston did with KG and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce, Golden State just took it to another level, man.
Yeah.
To me, they just took it to another level, man.
But those guys, the difference though, keep in mind, we all know that Steph was drafted 09, Clay 11, Draymond 2012. Those guys were already homegrown. And then Celtics, they traded for Pierce. I mean, they traded for, Pierce started there. They traded for Ray Allen from the Sonics, if I'm not mistaken. Traded for KG from the Timberwolves. And they added some pieces. They still had Tony, even though Tony Allen, they still had him. He had been there since 04. They had some guys that had been there for a minute. But I think this home goal, aside from KD, that Golden State team that won the championship was homegrown.
Yeah, it
and
was.
People don't talk about it. It was mostly homegrown. You added Iguodala. He was a big piece too from those Nuggets in 2015. But most of that team was homegrown. Those people don't talk about that enough.
Yeah, they were built through the draft. They were, and we've yet to see a team built like that again, like so far. That built through the draft. Even Sixers couldn't do it with trust the process. They couldn't get it done. So
yeah, they had to try. They had to go adding Tobias and Buck Danny, all those other pieces.
Yeah, so and nobody has copied that recipe yet and made it work. So that's that, man. All right, so that's all we have for y'all for right now, man. It's our last podcast of the year. for 2021. Oh man, stop tripping, man.
I'm playing, man. I'm playing.
Man, yeah, like he said that message like man, this is it. Like I'm pulling the plug or something. Like, dude, it's just a week off, man. But
we got some.
yeah, we can take a little rest. You know, we might do a little emergency pod for this CFP coming up, man. It's I heard this news today that a team could forfeit if they have enough COVID cases. I'm like, dude, please, bro, do what you gotta do to don't catch the virus, man. But we'll talk. We'll talk about that down the road. But last part of the year, enjoyed it. Two great guys, two great journalists in Memphis. Came with the idea. We just expanded on it. Looking forward to next year. We might add some movie topics to it. We'll see, but depends on what y'all like. We're gonna add a little more to it going forward. Should be exciting. The NFL playoffs starting to come up. Coaches probably gonna get fired 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. NBA starting to heat up. They're gonna look like they're gonna go through with it. No pauses. NHL pause. Look like nobody doesn't care because it's the NHL, but it is what it is. But we enjoyed it. We enjoyed y'all. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for anybody that listened. You listen to this through YouTube, just give us a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, share your thoughts. If you listen to this through Apple, give us a 5-star rating, leave your comments. Hate, like, comment, concerns. Also, check out strike7sports.com for latest content on the NFL, the NBA, and much more. You have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Enjoy your night. Peace. We out.
I'll take care. Have a good one.
All right, man.
All right.